our people are disconnected and don't know what's true and what's false and what's lies anymore. I would say more so out of all the years that I've been teaching yoga, and I started teaching in 1974. It's a long time ago. Our people are in dire straits. They are spirit bereft. They're not connected to their own spirit, their own yearnings, their own dreams. Their dreams have been destroyed. And that is appalling.
Hey everyone, I'm Matreya, and this is From Darkness to Light, a conversation series where I talk to world-renowned healers, spiritual thought leaders, and artists on the subject of anxiety and depression. In this episode, I'm joined by two extraordinary visionaries whose work bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and modern-day healing. Anna Forrest, the incredible pioneering force behind Forrest Yoga, and powerful medicine man and artist Jose Calarco. Together, they weave Native American and Aboriginal ceremony into a transformative path of yoga. This conversation really blew my mind, so I'm excited to share it with you, and I hope you can get something from it. If you do like this conversation, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Enjoy. I guess where we can dive in is that I looked at some government statistics, and currently there are about 1 in 6 people in the UK on antidepressants, and around 1 in 5 in Australia, according to current government statistics. Now, that is excruciatingly high, and it was something that I didn't expect, kind of diving into that.
Actually, I would have expected it to be more so, because if you only looked up antidepressants, it doesn't include all the other pharmaceuticals people are taking addictively. And I
And
think that's an important number to look at.
yeah,
Like, what are the
and
numbers
what
that
private
they,
doctors are administering, and I
yeah,
mean,
well,
I couldn't even find any statistics on the US. That was that until since like 2024. I think the last thing was kind of public. But how are you to know? And I'm sure that this is only people who have been diagnosed and have actually gotten treatment. Who
yeah.
knows who are getting it and who's actually been diagnosed? But it's what the hell is going on? I mean, from your
Well,
perspective.
we're in the US right now, and some recent statistics, which we don't know what's true anymore because social media and Google aren't exactly truth tellers. But we have investigated and researched, and around 60 to 70% of all Americans are on some prescribed drugs. And the average American takes 15,000 pills in a lifetime. That is disturbing.
Hmm.
So modern civilization ain't quite working like they think it is. You know, we always demean the indigenous cultures as something uncivilized and not as advanced as us. And although we may be advanced technologically, the indigenous cultures were much more advanced spiritually. So
Yeah.
these sorts of depressions did not happen with our people in Australia before colonization. There's no such thing as mass anxiety and depression because we had a connection with nature and we had a spiritual way of life where everyone in the community was given specific roles and duties, and there was a passion and purpose to Indigenous ways of life. Since 2020, things have got much worse. And the reason we know that is because Anna and I just don't teach in America, we teach worldwide. So this is not an American problem, it's a global problem. And since 2020, with the max vaccination and dependency on drugs, the situation is totally out of control.
With the benefit of pharmaceuticals is that it disconnects you from your pain. But it disconnects you from being able to feel your heart yearnings. It disconnects you from your kinesthetic intelligence. It disconnects you from your spirit. So the trade-off is not very often worth it, because our people are disconnected and don't know what's true and what's false and what's lies anymore. I would say more so out of all the years that I've been teaching yoga, and I started teaching in 1974. It's a long time ago. Our people are in dire straits. They are spirit bereft. They're not connected to their own spirit, their own yearnings, their own dreams. Their dreams have been destroyed. And that is appalling.
It's
Yeah.
actually called, yeah, it's called soul loss.
Yes.
And the Aboriginal people tell us with soul loss, all the purpose of life gets thrown out the window. All the reasons to wake up in the morning, you have no more reason to get up. But the good news is that soul retrieval is very, very possible. And in shamanic practices, this is exactly what we're bringing into Forrest Yoga now, soul retrieval. And it's not so easy as, first of all, getting people off addiction and dependency ain't an easy job. It's a day-to-day chore, and people need a program because it's not just a physical thing. You've got to move the body, still the mind, express the emotions, nurture the spirit. So each sector needs to be worked on. And this is why yoga is not enough. Like the physical postures of yoga, it's not even the first yoga. What I teach in Forest Yoga is the first yoga. And the first yoga is diet and lifestyle. That that's the first yoga. And then comes the postures and the meditation and everything after. But if you've got a crap lifestyle and diet, it doesn't matter how much exercise you do, you will never ever be happy.
I guess
Not
that's a good, yeah.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
yeah, I just guess that's a good point, a good place to sort of build on a practical, tangible path toward reconnecting with our spirits, because it's something which is ethereal and it's hard to grasp, and it's such a large concept, or sometimes a concept for people which they can't even imagine. What is spirit? How do I even connect to that? How would I even connect back with this land that I've been so estranged from? Actually, I don't even want to be on the planet Earth. I have absolutely zero connection with this earth. There are sensitive souls that I'm sure there are plenty of sensitive souls and younger souls, like you said, that have absolutely zero hope now. Their dreams have been dashed. They're completely disconnected. Their psyches are fragmented in this way, which causes this power loss, this soul loss, which requires retrieval, which is a incredibly subtle and delicate process, which can be quite dangerous also. And I just wonder how we can start building this journey back towards this place, but now within modern day society where we can't forego our phones and our Wi-Fi and certain things anymore, because I think we're sort of meant to awaken with these things around us now, and try and integrate practices within this to mitigate the things the problems that they cause. But I guess with on this path, how can we really make this tangible to bridge this gap between something which is here and physical and something which is non-physical?
So I have two roots that go into that. So the first one is that how I view people with addiction is that it's an attempt to fill this gaping hole inside where the lack of connection to something authentic and true, like your own heart, your own spirit, your own dream, has been cut or disguised by the drugs of pharmaceuticals. So, all right, so that's one. And two is for the addicts that are listening, and if they're starting to dive down, like, oh, going into even more of a depression on it, to recognize that the person, the aspect of you that addicts, could actually be your most artistic self, but has gotten into trouble. And so to start pulling that aspect of yourself out of the addiction prison and starting to quest for what is it that person really needs to do, whether it's doing yoga or painting or music, or even if you don't know what it is you're supposed to do, you can use all of those tools to begin to unfold this person that only knows how to unfold through drugs,
Mm,
which is a deadly thing to be doing.
mm,
So, for part of my healing, what I had to do was come down with some bottom lines that I couldn't lie to myself or talk
mm,
my way out of it. And it was just like, I'm not drinking or I'm not vomiting as a bulimic, not doing drugs, no matter what. Even I could understand that in my most lying self, no matter what. So instead, I would do sun exercises all night when I was craving drinking. That was my 12-step program, is doing sun exercises until
mhm,
sunrise. And that worked for me. It's like I would be soaking wet, sweating, and strong and virtuous instead of ashamed. So not going back to those drugs no matter what, and finding something meaningful to focus on, even if it's just
mm,
breathe deeply. Start with that. Because with an addict mind, everything feels so overwhelming. So
mm.
start with something super simple. Active feet, deep breathing. Don't follow that pathway down the addict road. Turn a different direction.
Yeah.
And
We
so,
also have ceremony as well. Like we teach ceremony, we teach the students or the future teachers of yoga how to do ceremony, where you start. Anyone can become a shaman. Not everyone's chosen to be a shaman, but there's no reason why we can't take the shamanic principles. And like we said, if depression and anxiety needs a plan, it's not just a quick fix, it needs a daily plan. So when we say move the body, we're saying start yoga. A good, look into the local yoga schools around and try to get something meaningful, or get Anna and I, because Anna and I, we really are one off in the yoga world. There's never been anyone in the yoga world like us, and there never will be again, because our songs, our stories, and our experiences are vastly different to any other teacher in the world. We realize that an exercise class is not enough to heal people. Like students come to us with suicidal thoughts, depression, relationship problems, money problems, problem after problem, and they stay in this state constantly. So there needs to be a daily plan. So moving the body, doing yoga, stilling the mind, meditation, go out to nature, choose a tree, and put your prayers and aspirations at the tree's root, sing to the tree, pray to the tree, keep coming back to the site, and cause get some energy going. And then also the emotions. Everyone needs to do a program of insight. So this is why I say yoga is not enough. A program of insight is singing, songwriting, acting, whatever, writing, uh, whatever, some artistic field. That's a program of insight. And then, of course, doing ceremonies like walking into nature, uh, and putting your prayers and aspirations out there. So, as I said before, the body, the mind, the emotion, and the spirit, a daily plan of nurturing all four fields every day. And that's what Anna and I do every single day.
Like every time we prepare a meal, we do our best to make it have the most luminosity and life force possible. And we're vegan, or we go on completely plant based. We don't eat processed food. We eat really high quality food, and we do prayers over it. When I first started deciding I'm going to choose life, that was another one of my bottom lines. No more flirting with death. I'm going to choose life. And I didn't really know how, and I didn't know how to pray. So I started running my energy through my food, asking it to align with me to build my life force. That was my first prayer. And then as I started working with Native people in the US, I learned how to do a smoke ceremony, which is like burning sage or sweetgrass or cedar, and learning how to bless myself with the smoke to clean the electromagnetic field, but also giving myself that chance to clean and move off of the obsessive track that my mind was stuck on. And in Forrest Yoga, we teach people how to use the ceremonies we bring and the breathing and the poses to bless themselves.
And the singing and chanting.
Yes, I think it's not enough now to just be bendy bits of spaghetti. It's that we
No,
need
no.
we need to find a way to merge these different modalities into something which is completely unique for each and every one of us. And it's not a one size fits all thing, but everybody sort of needs to go on this path and choose life, like you said, and find a way to connect the dots through this. And I think um from your Aboriginal perspective and from sort of Native American and yogic perspective, this severance from the land as well, and like you was talking about connecting back with nature. But I think that lots of people probably think going for a walk is a bit boring. How do I actually connect back with that thing and feel something in return? And I think how you do that is like you said, being honest with your emotional process at that moment and really giving up your emotions and really going through that and creating a relationship with nature as if it was part of your someone in your family.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Like for instance, in Sydney, we have a forest that we go to every day. And it used to be that we found out this later, it used to be an ancient Aboriginal ceremonial site. And there's something like 20,000 bats in the forest. So we choose this spot. When I say just go for a walk, yes, that's just one dimensional a walk. We go for a walk, but before we go for a walk, we put down our prayers and intentions of what we want for the forthcoming year or whatever. And we go to a special tree in this forest that we built a relationship with. We dig a hole, we put the prayers in, the aspirations on the paper, then we sing, then we pray, and we keep coming back to this side to re energize. And of course, in our business, you've got to do all the other work, marketing, emails, accounts and bookwork. But also, we ensure that we have ceremony attached to our business. So, this is what the Native Americans used to speak to trees, speak to the birds, speak to this. They used to form a first-hand relationship, no matter how crazy, middle class white people think that may be. But this is the relationship my people had with the land.
So I guess it's
And
important. It's really important that we realize actually that we're ritualistic beings in that sense, and that is a huge catalyst for transformation, creating that space, creating a environment in which you can be deep in yourself, deep in your feelings, feel safe enough to do that, and then create this sort of relationship with the unseen and give it over and then start working with that path of faith and trust that you're going to get a response.
yeah, well, totally. You just look at the history of ceremony. Like my people have been around for 65,000 years. And there was no such thing as ceremony 100,000 years ago. Humans just dropped dead wherever they were. They weren't buried. There was no nothing. And then somewhere between 60 to 70,000 years ago, someone looked up the stars and said, what the or why are we here? What's the sun? What's the moon? Why are the animals more intelligent than us?
Mm,
Because we used to watch the animals for knowledge, because the animals had superpowers. They had like a GPS that could go from 2,000 miles across Australia to find water or find food. The animals had the superpowers, not us. So we watched the animals, and the animals educated us how to hunt, where to get water, to do what plants were safe to eat, which weren't.
mm,
So the animals were our teachers. So we watched the animals and we created ceremony about 65,000 years ago. We just took our basic language, which was the vowels A, E, I, O, U. We created song. We created dances, not human dances. We watched the butterflies, the birds, the eagles, the crocodiles, and we created animal dance. And that's how dancing started.
Mm.
Dancing did not start just from humans, you know, creating something. They created the dance by animal movements. And all the first songs were about the community, the animals, the stars, the moon, the great mystery. So about 65,000 years ago, we created ceremony to, to find the enigmas and mysteries of life. And then all of a sudden, our medicine men, besides watching the animals, that was one way of knowledge. The second way of knowledge was dreaming. Because our medicine men would dream and the dream would come true, this was evidence that dreams are wiser than men. So there's some wisdom in the dreaming. The next step was to walk into the dream time, cross the bridge, and be conscious that we are now in the dream time. And this is where we commune with the Mimi spirits, dead people, and got the knowledge, like what to do, where to go. You know, this area is going to be dry soon, so you move 200 miles north, etc., etc. So ceremony was way before religion. Religion's what, 5,000 years old? Ceremony is over 60,000 years old. So this was the first cases of shamanism. And because we always were in the wilderness, we were always in the wilderness, then we understood, we got a great understanding of nature. But now that we're in cities, we're totally disconnected from
Mm.
it. Yeah.
Ceremony, it opens the doorway for us to get off that hamster wheel of daily habitual thinking that's what's truly boring. Going for a walk isn't so boring. It's what's always going on in the mind is really utterly boring.
Yes.
And ceremony gives a person a chance to step away from that and open up their senses to something that they have not perceived yet, which is like the great mystery. And it could come in all kinds of ways. Sometimes people think that the great mystery is going to talk to them in English or something, or maybe even in Sanskrit. And it comes in different ways. When we went to our tree in Australia one time, I was kind of dragging ass because I had a migraine and I was feeling horrible. And Jose was burying the prayers at the tree, and then we started to sing, and the one of the branches of the tree came down and started dancing on my head, and I'm just like going, all right. And it's like leaves coming down my face, and I was just standing there just laughing. And after that was done happening, about 5 minutes, it was actually pretty long, my headache was gone. So this is the nature interacts with us, and the wise ones interact with us in a way we do not expect. It's not going to come out like a sermon.
So yeah,
That's human stuff.
yeah. If you look at Native American history, all Geronimo, Red Cloud, Crazy Horse, and all that,
Mm.
they all spoke to the birds.
Yes.
Like, for instance, many times Geronimo got warned by a crow that, hey, the cavalry is on the way. You better start heading out now.
Mm-hmm.
And people thought it's crazy. You're listening to a crow? And he goes, I am. And they would move, and the crow would be right. Now, this seems totally crazy, like I say, for white middle class people with no spiritual experiences. But once you've opened the Pandora's box to the other world, and both Anna and I have,
Mm.
we don't speak from reading books, we speak from first hand experiences of dealing with the mystery and what's behind the shadow of the physical world. As I said before the tape came on, the physical world is the shadow of the next world. And the Aboriginal shamans were always in the next world. And to be in the next, through dreaming, and through the dreaming, you have a view from the mountaintop. So most people are down in the valley and they can only see what's in front of them.
Mm.
To become a dream walker or a shaman is to have a view from the mountaintop, which is an overview of reality, and know that everything is interconnected.
So I think a way that maybe we can start to understand that is, like you were saying, the mind is on this hamster wheel, and we can't get off this hamster wheel. And I think our idea of what the mind is um is completely false. It's this thing that is located maybe in our brain, or it's floating sort of above us, and we don't really have a sort of tangible connection with it. But really, the mind is intertwined with the body, with the organs, and the fascia, and you can't separate these things. They are working together, and I think especially in the West, we haven't come to a place yet where the modern West anyway, where we realize that the mind is actually intertwined with all of these bodily connections. So it's a good place to lead on to how important it is for people to use the breath to connect inside the body, inside deep into the organs, and how important it is for them to gain control of their fascia, and stretch that, and how, what where the trauma is kept, and how the trauma is kept in the organs and the body and the muscular part of the body and the bones and all this kind of stuff. We don't really see it that way. It's sort of this nagging little bird that sort of pecks at our head, and we can't, or a bee that is sort of flying around us and we can't quite get it. But really, it's deep in there, and we need to start releasing
We
that
call
stuff.
that, we call the troublemaker in the mind, and you can cut this out. We call that the mother in the mind.
I love that.
You
Don't
can
cut
cut
that
that
out.
out. I don't know if you're allowed to swear on this podcast. I know some people get offended when I put the nuisance in the mind, and we say, well, that's the mother in the mind, and you have to live above the mother, or living above the demons of the mind. Anna?
Well, let's start with one of the basic delusions that people have. Is like the brain is separate from the body. It's like, go look in the mirror. Where's your brain?
Mm.
Your body. It's part of your body. And the making that connection is what makes people kinesthetically stupid. When they believe that the brain is separate from the body, it's a lie. The brain is part of the body. What happens in the body is running through the brain on all levels, whether it's pain or information or whatever. And as soon as you open the pathways between the brain and the body, and you begin to build that kinesthetic intelligence, then you begin to develop this sense of going on your hero's quest into the great mystery inside of yourself.
Mm.
So even questing for your own healing, it's like if you look at our stories, whether they come from Europe or from the Native Americans, the the woman or the man or the child was put in a terrible situation and had to go quest somewhere for answers. And that's what we're doing. We're having to quest for answers for our own healing, for our own unfolding, for freeing up and recapturing our spirit. And to me, the way that we teach yoga and the tools that we give them is how they can earn their freedom and regain their dream. We don't give people a dream, it's theirs to quest for, but we give them the arena to quest for what would be meaningful as a purpose in being alive.
How do you
And
stay
that's so important.
how do you stay motivated on that journey to heal yourself? How do you not reach that point where you go, screw it, and the lower death drive takes over, and there is seemingly no way out, or even at some point when you're going on your healing journey, there is a period where it gets worse before it gets better. All the crap starts to release, and there is this
Mm.
lag period before you actually start feeling better, which is the worst point. And that is the point where you either relapse or you go back into those habitual patterns. What are we aiming for ultimately, that we can put in front of us like a carrot on a stick and say, there's my motivation to heal? That that is my answer, and that is what I'm going to stay motivated to sort of on that path.
So there needs to be, once people lose their dream, they're gone. There's nothing we can do. I've been sent to Aboriginal communities in remote locations to try to come up with a plan to get people off alcohol, heroin, and all this. Not easy. It's one of the most difficult jobs ever. So the very first thing I installed was uh, making culture part of life again, like instilling ceremony back into life again. You see, people without a center perish. So it's not the Aboriginal people's fault. The colonizers came to our country and they purposely separated the knowledge, the elders, from the people, knowing that if you take the elders from the people, they lose their center and they'll crash. They did it in America. So the very first thing you need to do is install hope. And installing hope was beginning the cultural road again. So we could see that the older people, they were lost. There was nothing could be done there. But with the young kids, we got them early and we reconnected them to song, dance, and that's what we call a program of insight: singing, dancing, reading, writing, uh, things that create your own sense of hope. And I'm proud to say that to this day, those kids that we developed still have the purpose to live through their dance and culture. And it's the same with people out there, white people that don't have any culture. They need a purpose. And that's why doing yoga, doing meditation, that's still not enough. They need to begin a program of insight. We're talking, you're a singer, a program of insight in the arts. And when you see progress, like if you're learning how to play piano or guitar or whatever, the moment you see a little bit of progress, at first, I'm getting nowhere. But the moment the mind, there was some progress today.
And we can start
That
replacing those dopamine releases with actual learnt things that are actual real rewards. And I guess,
correct.
and how, what was that bit of hope for you, or or when did you realize that like I can sort of grasp onto something? There's a little bit of string. There's a little bit of light in the darkness there that is finally giving me that sense of hope.
When I would teach yoga or when I would do healing work, either on an animal or on a person, it felt like it was starting to clean the slate of my karma, which felt incredibly filthy. So I did a lot for in service to other people, but by choice, not by force. So that helped me a lot. And as I learned to care for the animals and as I learned to care for the humans, then I could loop that back and begin to learn to care for myself, because that was a impossible, impossible thing at first. Like for me, when I would study what to do for my own healing, my attention span was about that of a flea jump. Done.
Hmm.
That was it. That's all I could focus on myself, and then it would just be like, bleh. But when I could focus on an animal's needs or a human's needs in their healing process or their pain process or whatever was going on, my focus really grew. So all of my obsessive focus about my addictions transferred and started learning how to focus on helping another person or helping a horse or whatever animal I was working with, so that horrible addiction nature can be transformed.
That's
And
that.
that
Yes.
focus I was able to turn it onto something good. And the more I could do good, the lighter my karmic slate became.
But let's be honest here. It ain't going to work for everybody.
Hmm.
as I said, when I went on the Aboriginal community, where we were given a task of mass healings, there were some people past the point of no return.
Mm.
And we had to just give up there and just focus on the children that were the seeds of the future. Like, what gets you up each morning, Matreya? Like when you wake up in the morning, what gets you up? You tell your viewers what gets you motivated.
I think it was a great point that you made about becoming less self-centered, because we're in a society now where the individual rules, and we can feel extremely lonely in an extremely crowded place. And I think one of the things for me was giving up that personal identity, and being so strongly attached to that personal identity that I could have that breathing space and be more concerned about helping others. And in turn, that would be how I would learn to then treat myself. And it was sort of an opposite thing where for me, I found it very hard to self-care, self-love. What does it mean to really love yourself? What does it mean to really adore yourself,
Yeah.
or look in the mirror and think beautiful things about yourself, or tell, or or have that, retrain that inner critic to really compliment you and all of that. But at the same time, for me, that wasn't helpful because it was still in polarity. It was still, if I could compliment myself, then I could still dig at myself. So it was like, well, how do I kind of throw them both out and be in this space where it wasn't about me so much anymore? It was about my purpose. What can I actually do in the world? What can I actually give? And that in itself is still a lesson for me, which is teaching me how to actually treat myself, because I'm way kinder to other people and definitely kinder to animals than I am to humans.
Yeah.
And I'd probably very easily move onto an island and just live with animals, and that would be it. But yeah, we can't do that, unfortunately. So
But
I
now that you're a successful human, past your worst period, what inspires you to get up in the morning? Is it like, for instance, your music? Is that one of your focus points?
hmm, it's interesting because I think the music is a catalyst. It's a sort of channel for what I actually want to feel, which is freedom.
Yeah,
Freedom of expression, non-judgment, I think is a massive one for me, because I feel like that inner anxiety comes from a place of judgment, and that place of non-judgment and freedom is ultimately freedom of expression is ultimately what I want to feel from doing the music. Whether the music is good or bad objectively doesn't really matter. If it moves somebody, it moves somebody.
yeah.
But I, I think,
But
yeah,
it's got to move you first.
yeah.
People say, yeah, like, as long as I'm happy with my music,
Mm,
I'm happy. I don't care what anyone else says or does, although we do like a little bit of acknowledgement every now and again. But once you've created the song, there's the success. I did it. I wrote it. I conceived it. And there it is. That's a success.
there's
To me,
absolutely
that's like a
no
gold
feel.
record.
Yeah, there's
That's a gold
absolutely no.
record.
I say to so many people, I say there's absolutely no feeling like that, or at least you can really connect it for me as a musician with making love. It's exactly the same thing. As soon as you make a record and you're in that flow and you're in that space, there is no difference between that and feeling a sense of sexual bliss or sexual union, or just complete bliss and oneness with sort of having this conversation, this dialogue with the universe, or with the creative force itself, and you're
Yeah,
actually in communication with it, and it's actually starting to feed you energetically. And I think that that's
yeah,
when you can actually get some idea of, oh, okay, this is a living, breathing space that I'm in. It's not that I'm in a void and it's full of nothing. I'm actually in communication with something continuously. And I always think it's kind of like Bumblebee from Transformers, how he talks through the radio and he chooses different
yeah,
snippets because he hasn't got his own voice. And it's like, you could have a message through the TV, and it's just that one thing that you hear, or that one thing that you hear on the radio, and it just sparks that thing for you. But it's being open to it, and it's opening your awareness to it. And I think what you've been saying, through ceremony, through ritual, through community again, through actual culture, and
Yeah,
breathing and connecting with the body, this is the tangible pathway now that we can start actually
it's connecting to the
reconnecting.
bigger field. Yeah, it's getting into the bigger field.
And we also teach like on the mat in our workshops with the music and with the poetic narratives that Jose reads, or the Aboriginal or personal songs that he brings in. We set an intent on the mat for the person to actually work with for the entire time of the asana section. So it could be something like healing your back,
Mm.
or it could be learning to embody your spirit. And part of learning to embody your spirit is quieting the mind enough to perceive something other than your own inner babble, which is really damn boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, you said freedom is important to you. So if you made that your intent, like, how do I do these poses in a way that I'm earning my freedom? Then it becomes so enticing instead of warrior two. It's like, yeah, okay, warrior two. You know,
Mm.
there's a way of using the pose as the sacred arena for self-discovery. And it's an amazing way to work.
And I think that is a massive, probably a massive disconnect here in sort of modern yoga culture, is that the idea of it and what it adds to your accolades in carrying your yoga mat about and saying you're going to yoga, is it gives people the sort of instantaneous dopaminergic love that they need. But when
Yeah,
they're in there, they're rushing to get to yoga, for one, and then they've got
yes,
to, which is like,
I get it. I get you.
and when they leave, that session's gone, and then the next thing comes, and the next thing. So, holding on to that, like, it is that, how you hold on to that, I guess, is through that power of intention, how strong your intention is through that, and how connected you are with actually what you need, and actually what the practice is doing, and how you're sort of utilizing that, is all on you.
Yeah,
But it's a matter of like with the yoga practice, it works if you do it, period. And you
Yes.
need to do it every day. It's like brushing your teeth. You need to do it every day or you got fur growing on your teeth. I think you need to do yoga every day or you got this detritus toxic crap growing on your soul and in your mind and in your cell tissue every day. And you need to clean it off and then go through the life experience with that centered, clean feeling.
yeah. And Anna and I worked out a very, very long time ago, yoga is not enough. And the Western world needs to realize what we've known for 60,000 years: reason and intellect can only get you so far. Reason and intellect can get you a job, it can get you a lifestyle, but it can't get life itself.
And that's why we bring the ceremony into the yoga practice.
Yes.
This vision questing, this deeper way of having this experience. I mean, it's not just like listen to the music and bop out to it because it's cool, even though it is. There's more to it than that. There's rearranging your electromagnetic field with the music. There's healing with the music. There's all kinds of incredible gifts if you go after
Yeah.
it.
So that's why in Aboriginal culture, we created walkabout. Walkabout is something that does not include reason or intellect. And that's could be going for a 100-mile walk with no food or no provisions, like a vision quest of walking through the desert and then coming underneath the mental noise and coming into the place that a lot of people, shamans, call the second attention. And that is the fertile ground where we come above something that's greater than reason and intellect. See, with science and doctors, there is nothing greater than reason and intellect. But
Yes, but it's probably that's the reason why we're in this mess, is because
thank you very
we
much.
have
That's the reason we're in this mess. Yeah,
yes.
that's the reason we're in this mess.
Well, I'm wary that you're very busy people, and I don't want to keep you too long. But
We could go all day
we
here.
we could so go all day. I mean, I have there's so many different tangents that we can lead it off. I guess a good one to start rounding up on is um sort of baseline practices. If somebody hasn't got access to, I mean, we all have access now. We can go on YouTube. I did a Forest Yoga the other day on you, one of yours on YouTube, and I mean, it's right there. You know, it's right there to do. And I guess that there isn't no real excuses anymore. But what is a baseline thing that someone can start doing now, if they are in feeling in this place where their anxiety is taking a hold of them, or they have no purpose, they have no drive? What is that very first step that they can start now on this journey?
Well, yoga is a very, very good start. You know, uh, that, and also, maybe a look at their diet.
Hmm.
When people say, "Oh, what's making me sick, Jose?" It could be
The
heavy metal
Starbucks every day.
poisoning, plastic poisoning, despair, anxiety. There is so many variables now. What could be wrong?
Yes.
But I would say definitely, from what I've seen, is start yoga, and not yoga online. You need to go into a class with people. Online just isn't the same. You need to go into a class and just begin a very simple basic yoga. Even if it's a chair yoga or something, you got to move the body.
Just get moving.
Well, that's the first thing. So with all disease which Aboriginal people treated was always move the body. Just move. The depression and anxiety, move. Just move.
Hmm.
Keep moving. And then, things like meditation and taking up an instrument and ceremony, that can all come later because that's way too complex for the beginner. But even if yoga's too much, move the body.
Yes.
But you need to do it every single day. See, I have an Aboriginal friend who is on 30 different medications each day. So he can't do yoga either. So the only thing we can do with him to get him down is move the body. Starts with a 2 kilometer walk. Now he's up to 5, 10 kilometers a day. That's a starting point.
Hmm.
Yoga could be too much for some of your people. I know a walk may seem boring, but a walk through, a national park or somewhere
And
close.
it's like get barefoot, put your feet in the dirt or in the sand or in the water. This helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah, we all know
And
about grounding now and these things, but
yeah,
Yeah,
but we kind of are a bit like, "Meh, we haven't really got the people." A lot of people, they don't really got the energy. I haven't got the time. I've got work. I've got this. I've got to do all of that. Is it really going to help? Is it really this and that? And I think, uh, to some extent, you do have to reach a point of desperation with this. You do
yeah.
yeah.
have to reach a lot of people have to reach a healing crisis for it to snap. And unfortunately, that's how it sort of wakes a lot of people up, is that they hit a
The bubble
crisis
has to
point,
burst. You're right.
You
and
know,
then it comes online.
you were talking about love earlier, and to me, to tell someone in their depression about, start loving yourself or loving other people is absurd.
Mm,
It's like cooking a gourmet vegetarian meal when they don't even know they don't know that eating McDonald's hamburgers is poison. They don't even know that much. They're not going to cook a good meal for themselves. But to start doing things that build their self respect, to choose food that, like fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, simple, clean food that feeds their life force and not depletes it.
Going for a walk builds self respect. Reading 10 pages in a book builds self respect. You just start with little things
yeah.
because in our culture, we say from little things, big things grow.
Mm,
But also starting to perceive what eats your energy like a parasite. Like when people get sucked into social media or gossiping and it depletes you. So if you stop doing the things that deplete you, like you're smoking and you're drinking and you're gossiping, you just stop that shit then you got energy for something else because a depression person, people can load all sorts of things like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. It's like, baby, I can't even get out of bed to take a
Yeah.
piss. So it's like, what do you do with the needing to get out of bed to take a piss?
Yeah.
Well, start breathing deeply.
So, so Matreya, you need to do a list. Good wolf, bad wolf. And then look at all your actions in the day. Oh, I just went for a walk. Good wolf.
Feeding the good wolf.
I just read 10 pages of that interesting book. Good wolf. I just had a beer. Bad wolf. I just smoked a joint. Bad wolf. I just went into depression for 3 hours and allowed it to continue. Bad wolf. So the Native American shamans tell us the wolf that wins in the end of your life is the wolf that you feed. And as we say, it can just be little actions because people that are hopelessly addicted, and I've been with those already,
Mm.
it has to be little steps. And even yoga is way too much of a big step for the people I'm was dealing with.
Yeah.
So it has to be from the little things, the big things can grow.
Totally.
Little
Totally.
actions, micro actions.
Well, that's beautiful. I really think that that is useful, really useful stuff for people, because when we're in that place of anxiety and depression, we love to create all sorts of justifications, I think, and validations as to why we're there, why it's important that we're there, why everyone should respect that we're there and give us space and let us wallow in that. We can come up with 1,000 justifications. And like you said, everybody then wants to shower you with recommendations of what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. But if we can just close our eyes and really breathe deeply and actually feel what's going on in our bodies, actually allow us to feel that sadness or anxiety, because how you
Yes.
can never get to the root of it if you're not going to feel it totally. And
Yeah.
to allow ourselves to finally give that space. And like you said, it's not just about doing a yoga class online, but the sense of community and intention is so important to making that work. And it's so life-giving when you're just around people and just saying hello. I mean, I'm noticing now, if I go to the sauna or if I'm in the gym, or people you would never expect just want to say hello, because they don't even get
Yeah.
to speak to people. They don't even get to talk to people.
Yes.
They don't even get to feel, and they can tell if you're receptive to just being open and loving in that way. And hey, how you doing? Even that enough, just somebody you've never met at the gym, and you just say hello. You've met the first, and then you say it was good to speak to you today. See you later. Maybe see you tomorrow. You leave and you think, wow, you can feel that little bit of,
Yeah.
upliftment in you, and it's so
Totally.
tiny, but we're so deprived now. We're so deprived of this connection, that just getting on the wheel, getting on the ladder is very hard. But like you said, it's a tiny little step, but it's a huge
Tiny
leap.
steps. And the reason I know that is like with the people that were on the heroin, people said, well, what are you telling them to do? And I said, nothing. I said, you can't tell a heroin addict anything to do. You just be there and talk to the same person. I never spoke to the heroin addict. I always spoke to the same person behind the heroin addict.
Mm,
You don't give any advice to people that are that down. They're not going to listen. And unfortunately, you have to wait till the bubble bursts and then they come to you. And then you can begin the little steps,
mm,
because even the little steps are way too much when they're at the height of this addiction.
mm,
And for some people, the idea of going to a class is like hits the guilt and the shame and the this and the that. I'm so stiff. I'm too fat. I'm blah, blah, blah.
mm,
It's like, so this is where our online classes are a really good thing.
mm.
In privacy of your own home, you can turn this on. We are still doing the ceremony. We're still setting an intent. And you can do the class or do part of the class. You make a start.
Yes.
Every time you sit your butt down on the mat, you make a start, but you have to get on the mat. And all the excuses about why you can't are lies. So get fascinated with living moment to moment without lying to yourself. That is a very cool thing.
Yes, and that's a huge catalyst then for how you live your entire life. As soon as you make that vow to stop lying to yourself, everything inside and outer that has been starts to deconstruct, and then you're
Yeah.
playing the game then, you know. But I guess a last maybe message from both of you would be like, what is a message of light right now? What would be your message of hope for somebody who is curious about this path, they've reached a crisis, they're ready to do something about it, or somebody who you know, they are ready to do something but they feel hopeless. Like what is that, what could be that message of light for them?
Look, if it has to be in one line, everything that you want is on the other side of your fear. And it's okay waking up every morning fearful and uncertain. That's okay. Proceed anyway. Even the best of us wake up uh, each morning with that uncertainty and uh, even the most positive people wake up with that uncertainty. And one of the reasons that is because at nighttime we're always in the other dreaming bodies, and there's a sense of liberation being away from the prison of the physical body. So the moment we come back into the physical body, we feel like prisoners. But people have to have a dream. Like there has to be a purpose. Like my purpose is our work at the moment. So I wake up every day with that enthusiasm to build our work, our music, our ceremonies. I'm sure one of your purposes is also music. So they need to reconnect to what was that dream they had as a teenager. Get that back. Get that back. And then each day make micro steps on building towards the dream. And when the mind sees a little bit of progress in something, it gets hungry.
Mm,
The good wolf then
mm,
takes over the driver's seat.
So
beautiful.
I have a few basic, like I said, I have bottom lines that I
Yeah.
can work.
Mm,
So one is choose life.
mm,
Choose life. And then when you put your actions up on the scale of, is this choosing, deadening me, or is this enlivening me, it becomes more obvious what your actions do. Then, hmm, another bottom line for me is evolve or die.
mm,
Just like, because that's where I got down to.
mm,
And to feed my luminosity, which then lights up the world in a way I could never imagine.
mm.
But every day, it's like choose an action that will break another one of those chains of imprisonment and earn freedom. That's fascinating to me. And it could be teaching, or it could be healing, or it could be reading something from Krishnamurti, who I dearly love, or it could be Jose and I go for a walk and touch the bark of the tree, or see an eagle, or watch a seagull's antics. But to actually allow ourselves to enjoy that moment instead of blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's just a seagull, blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut the up
Mm.
and pay attention to something more important than blah, 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 blah. Because that's the least important thing in your mind. Blah, 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 blah. The mind is meant to perceive so much more than that daily program. And learning to break free of those programs is just fascinating.
Yes, I think as soon as we start to shut off that default mode network, your awareness widens and things become so much more vibrant and loud, and the energy becomes louder, and people become more vibrant, everything becomes more expressive, even down to the very subtle things become very loud, and you realize how thick reality is with things, and even in that moment of boredom or that moment of depression, the reality in its plainest form is full of richness that we're not accessing, and as soon as we kind of face these bottom line things of, okay, I need to evolve now, or I need to shed this skin, or I'm going to die in it.
Yeah.
And when those moments come, there are these little clicks, and that awareness gets a little bit bigger, and it lets some more in, and then that widens and lets some more, and you integrate it a bit, and it widens, it keeps going, and it keeps going, and then you're sort of the fish that the hook is in, and God is sort of reeling you in that sense, and that's very beautiful, and I really do resonate with that in such
And
a
also it's like listen to the wind.
mm,
Listen.
mm,
Or like Bruce Lee used to say, "Be like water, my
water.
friend."
Mm.
Yeah. It's like watch, move like that. Learn something different because what you've learned up to now is not serving you. So you need to learn something different.
And it's important that we don't just see that type of stuff as metaphor or symbolic. We are actually water. We're like
Yeah,
80% water, but then Bruce
yeah,
Lee can say something like, and it seems quite abstract for him to say, be water, my friend. If it's in a teapot, it becomes a teapot. We are water. That's exactly what we are. But we're sort of,
yeah,
our mind has created these false walls between these things and created things in just a metaphorical sense or a symbolic sense, rather than
yeah,
everything is symbolic and everything is real and everything is communicating with
yeah.
you.
So I got one more treat for you for the moment. Is like this was a big piece of me redoing my own bones and flesh. Is to recognize that I had star particles inside of me and I could light them up. And that became my practice for many years. Is one, stars, which I absolutely love. I'm a part of them. They're a part of me.
Hmm.
This is absolutely true. I'm made up of the same ingredients as
Six
stars.
ingredients that make up the universe also make up the star particles of a human, but of course in different. We've actually got some poses called star spiral pulse. But yeah, just look it up on Google. What's made of a star? What's a human made of?
Yeah,
The same
carbon,
ingredients for the whole
nitrogen.
universe. It's obvious, but we lose that connection that, hey, maybe the ingredients of the universe are different to us. No,
It's
we're
too
all,
obvious.
it's the
Well,
same.
sometimes we get in this deep depression about, oh, my dysfunctional family and I'm no good. It's like your real family is
Hmm.
the earth and the stars.
Yeah,
That's how far your lineage goes. It's way past your little family of origin of humans. Way past that. And it's true. This is what's inside of you. It makes up your DNA. Focus on that.
And how powerful and empowering that could feel if we realize that the same power that created the universe is the same thing that is traveling through
thus.
us and within us.
The
And
Lakota have a name for that. It's called Wakan Skan, which means the great sacred that moves in all things, but it also moves in you.
yes,
Yeah.
Like if you look deep enough and you see the electrons and protons dancing around in an intelligent dance, that's Wakan Skan.
yes, it's the macro is the micro, and that as we look at that solar system, we just kind of hone in and keep honing, and we just reach another solar system and another one, and
Yeah.
and it keeps going.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the Aboriginal people tell us that the Great Spirit is always in communion with us. We've just got to stop looking and begin seeing. And that's what shamanism is all about. When you get to the point where the whole rhythm and rhyme of life and the universe is working with you.
mm,
So the shaman knows that when he's centered, because everything is flowing in rhythm and rhyme. So for Anna and I, everything is flowing in rhythm and rhyme. We're not going against the wind anymore. We're traveling with the wind. We've surrendered.
mm.
And life is a hell of a lot easier
Mhm.
to be on this side, to do things the way we're doing them right now.
Rather than paddling upstream.
Oh, we're not paddling upstream anymore. We are in rhythm and sync with the universe. And that's what shamanism's about, ultimately.
Yes, there is a rhythm that precedes us that we can tune into and release to, that will actually take care of us if we can let go enough. And
We have
I
to
think,
surrender.
and surrendering is an active process. It's not sort of passive process, which I guess
Yeah.
it's sort of seen as it's this. oh well, I can't just surrender. I've got to keep control. Well, actually, surrender is probably it's more active
Well,
than trying to keep control.
yeah, look, Anna and I are very active, but we surrender to outcomes where the outcomes will do the best we can to get the outcome we want, but we won't force the outcome. We surrender and know that the outcome is what is best for us. Sometimes we've had a major event cancelled, then we've lost big money. And we thought, okay, there must be there's something else in this
Mm.
story. And then weeks later, oh, we just got a contract with Brazil to, in the Olympic Games. This is an actual experience that happened for Anna and I. So even though it seemed like the end of the world, losing all this money with the cancellation of a teacher training, what came next was a contract for the Brazil Olympic Games for my company, which Anna and I went to. So that's what I mean by surrender. If something really bad has happened to you, just know that there will be medicine for you, the proper medicine for you somewhere down the track.
Just like in our fairy tales, right? When the person goes on their hero's quest, all kinds of terrible things happen, right? They get imprisoned, they get beaten, or they get raped, or they get almost killed. But in the end of all of that stuff, they gain treasures. They gain their strength. They gain their connection to spirit. They gain a reason for being alive.
And then they're
That
able
it
to
does,
share that with the community.
yeah.
Yes, like Anna did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I just want to, the example that Jose was using is like what was so interesting about, we had this cancellation in the US of the teacher training, and it was like, oh no, like how are we going to deal with this? And yet the offer that came in for Jose, and then he got me invited too to go to the Brazil Olympics and have a descendants perform for them, also answered a deeper prayer of how are we, these two people who live on two opposite ends of the planet, going to weave their future together. And this was helping weave our future together. So it was a beautiful momentary thing of that month, but also it set the next chapter.
And I think
yeah,
that's really beautiful. And I think that as soon as you start creating that connection with the universe, with whatever you want to call it, you can have you can have that space then to actually ask, why is this happening? And then wait for a response, and actually
yeah,
have the openness to wait for a response, have that feedback, and then you start building a catalog inside your mind, which is proving your own bias that actually I'm getting feedback from when I'm actually asking these questions, rather than just shutting it off and saying that's hocus pocus, that's rubbish. Just wait, just wait, just say, why you know what, I'm not going to take it personally. Why has this happened? You show me. You, if I can't see, you show me, and wait. And then you start getting that feedback, and now you can start actually creating that trust between you and that unseen thing that actually wants beautiful things for you, rather than this world that is trying to attack us all the time, which is what we've been sort of duped into believing, that
yeah,
this thing is fundamentally trying to kill us rather than trying
yeah,
to uplift us.
yeah.
Well,
It's a great way to look at pain, you know?
hmm,
It's a
yeah.
way to look at pain. Pain and heroes can be born from pain, anxiety, and depression. And Anna is a living testament of that
Hmm.
because she hit the rock bottom. I didn't. I didn't. Anna did. That was Anna's medicine. My path was totally different to Anna's. But she hit the rock bottom. She came back. That means the people watching, you can come back as well.
Yeah,
No problem.
there's healing possible, but it probably will not show up the way you think it will. Because if you could conceive of how to do your healing, you would have. So you need to go a little bit out on the limb and change your diet, stop smoking, stop drinking, wean yourself off of the pharmaceuticals, do yoga every day, walk, do music, start to incorporate these other beautiful aspects and find out what happens then. Find out.
But again, it's little steps, as we said, and healing's not for everybody. I know a couple of people that didn't make it. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of people didn't make it, but they didn't even try. They didn't even try for the little step.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easier for the soul to just think to just I'm going to put this body down and start fresh because
Yeah,
it's too conditioned at that point
totally.
in
Yeah.
order to
And
unplug
what if that doesn't work? What if you bring all that heavy
back in.
conditioning and imprisonment into
Yeah,
you, but you don't even know why you're imprisoned? It's like, look at what you got here and
perfect.
change what you're doing here.
And here's the thing, just talking about the afterlife, people who decide, oh, I'm going to stop, so therefore I'm going to give up on this life, die, and start fresh. It doesn't work like that. Because even though the body dies, the thinker continues. And we already know this in Aboriginal shaman. The moment the body dies, the thinker continues. So there's still the anguish and pain of living in that mind. So there is no escape. You take your body, but the thinker continues.
That's
So,
And that's incredible motivation, actually, if we can truly realize that we are eternal beings and that
yeah,
actually we don't feel that different afterwards. After this body passes on, our mental constructions live on, and therefore,
yes,
if that's the
yes,
case, and I'm going to be living with this, I'm going to be on
yes,
that tube with all of these people for
yes,
eternity, then I better start now. Which is
yes,
it's liberating at the same time to know that you're eternal, but at the same time, it's a kick up the arse because you think, well, I'm going to carry this for what? Am I going to live with this for existence? Well, the time is
Yeah.
now. Then,
Solve this problem.
solve it while you're here,
Yeah.
because taking your life, it just continues in the next plane.
Like
Problem.
if people think like, oh, the only way out of this anguish, this was my belief too. The only way out of this suffering and anguish is death. It's like if you're so brave enough to kill yourself, can you be brave enough to live and take each of these challenges as your hero's quest? And yes, it's going to be damn difficult. Of course it is. Killing yourself is much harder. So don't even go that road. It's a dead end. No pun intended.
well, I mean, like I said, we could probably talk for hours and hours, and I don't,
Yeah, yeah,
I
we
don't want
got
to keep
stuff
you
to
for so
do.
long. And like I said, I didn't expect to be on this journey. What has started as me doing a few interviewing some people on this topic of anxiety, depression, and from darkness to light, is pretty much turning into a podcast somewhat for me, and it's interesting because lots of interesting people are wanting to talk about this kind of stuff, and God knows that we need it. So I'm just following the breadcrumbs similarly, and seeing, okay, then you want me to do that? Okay, I'll see what I can do, and I'll see where I can be a help in that. But it would be lovely to reconnect and do something further, because there are so many
Where
places that
are
we
you,
could take it.
Matreya? Where are you living at the moment?
So I'm in the UK. I'm in Birmingham.
In Birmingham. We'll be in
Yes.
London next April. We invite you to come. We're doing a 9-day teacher training. Please come along, even as a guest, and just be there for some of our morning ceremonies.
Yeah. I mean,
Or all of them.
yeah, I could totally. We could sing together and
Yes,
or something like that. That would be
we can sing
beautiful.
together, we can play together. It's a 4-hour morning of the advanced teacher training, but we always begin with 35 minutes of music and ceremony before the physical practice begins. And that's to get people, really centered in the room, because people come, with their mind racing, and they've raced to get there. And the first 10, 20 minutes, you know, they're not even there
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you'd love it.
So it takes about half
I
an hour of
would. I would.
ceremony.
We
Yeah.
love it, so we think you'd love it too.
Yeah.
I
It
can
takes
already
half
tell.
of ceremony to get them into the present moment, and then finally they're there. Then we can begin the class. Once they're there. because
Well,
the mind is, oh, they're racing off, they're looking at their phone. We get the phones out of here. Yeah,
oh God, yeah. Well, they're like it's like a another limb now, isn't it? We have phantom limb if you don't have your phone on you. So even just breaking that habit,
yeah,
we can talk about anxiety, addiction all day, all long, but we sort of don't include phones and TV into that
Oh,
category, really.
it
You know,
certainly is.
and
It
it
certainly
certainly
is.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
And it's sort of
same.
revolting to see people out, like, having dinner together, and they're having a relationship with their phone instead of the person across from the table. It's like,
yeah,
that's very lonely making. It's
Oh,
like,
and
what's
I've
throw
worked
the
in
ball.
hospitality, and you see, and now especially, you can go out, and it's worse because not only the parents are on the phones, but they immediately hand the kid an iPad, and
yes,
all throughout the meal, the kid is watching cartoons, and that's okay because we're stressed, and we could go into how society is sick in that way, but I mean, even I think I saw a study yesterday that 2 weeks without your phone actually starts to repair your neurological pathways. So
yes.
it's proof that just putting it down for a bit and reconnecting, even 2 weeks, even just living out that 2 week lag period, the
How
body,
about 2
uh,
hours a day? Let's
Yeah,
start with, like, 2 hours a day.
or
yeah.
even like you said, 5 minutes just deep breathing
Sure.
before you actually get up in the morning and not listening to that first
Blah, blah.
hamster wheel of that. Okay, no, 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 no. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah.
breathe.
Look, yeah, Matreya, we do need social media, Forrest Yoga, Jose
Mhm.
Calarco, to get our songs and music but you use it the way you want. Don't let it use you. You use it the way you want to do it. A lot of female yoga teachers now, likes is the new love. So this is disturbing. Posting 3 times a day, not about yoga, not about anything. It's just about getting approval and acceptance.
Yeah,
And if you can get over 100 likes a day, that equals love.
yes, it's a
Superficial AI
superficial.
love.
Yes, it's
Superficial love.
yeah, it's your digestive biscuit, but it's only got chocolate on the one side, and what you really want that, you want that Belgian chocolate, but you've just got chocolate on the one side, and the other side is
Yeah.
completely plain and without any life force. And it's a
Yeah,
facade.
And then you need it every day. We know hundreds of people like this. They need the likes every day to continue.
and it just will not fill that gaping, bleeding hole inside. It
Yeah,
will not,
it
ever.
will.
It's disturbing, but it's what
No,
we're
I
living
think,
like.
and that's exactly why I've loved this conversation, and I was so excited to talk to you because there's a radical truth in this, which I know I resonate with. I've always been somebody who has preferred the radical truth, has to actually get me moving than the wishy-washy stuff and the dogmatic stuff and the stuff that is just there for to add to the personality as another medal on the shelf or whatever. It's like, it like you said, I guess because I'm a musician, we have a sort of built-in melancholy that we work with. So it's not hard for me to go into deep dark places, um, and come out the other side. I'm quite familiar with traversing very dark spaces. But like you said, it's either evolve or die. It's either come into the light or be in that dark space, until you decide, okay, I'm going to get out of this. And it's until you decide, and that could be this lifetime, it could be the next lifetime, it could be in 1,000 lifetimes, but until you make that decision of, okay, no more, then the
Yeah.
construct can start shifting for you, I guess.
Or if you want to be in a dark space, come out under the night sky and see the countless points of light and hang out with the stars for a while. You're in that deep velvet darkness of the night sky.
This half an hour interview has gone on for 1 hour and 25
Oh, I'm
minutes.
so sorry. Go, get out of here.
It's a stretching of time.
Yes, I mean, time.
Happy ending.
What is
We need
that?
a happy ending.
Yes. Well, I think ultimately there is a message in there of light and hope that no matter what place you're in, that if you make that decision and you start now and you make those tiny micro adjustments daily, then probably in a shorter time than you can imagine, in a way that you won't expect, profound healing can actually happen to you regardless of anybody saying, or any doctor saying that, well, this is terminal, or this is this, or you're not going to get over this, or this is done. Actually, we need to be told now that there is a way out. There is a way, a path to healing, no matter what is going on with you. And the body is designed to do that. And our spirit is designed to help the body do that also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good ending.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. Honestly, it's been an absolute blast meeting you both, and I'm in awe, and I'm honored to sort of cross journeys with you in the dream time, in this
Oh,
little
yeah, we can meet
segment.
there, no problems.
And in London.
And
And
in
in
London,
London.
oh, yes, totally, totally. I will definitely be there. I'll definitely be there for that, and
And
we'll
so will
we'll, we'll
we.
keep it. We'll keep in touch, and I'd love to speak to you again at some point, and really go into some deep. We've already gone into deep territory now. I mean, I thought we were going to sort of stay on the surface and be a bit commercial, but to hell with it. Like,
Nah.
let's go full deep, and yeah, there's so many places we can go. So again, just thank you for your time,
Thank you. It's a
and
pleasure to meet you.
absolute pleasure, Anna. Absolute pleasure, Jose. And let's see.